Hey everyone, welcome back to the rest of my conversation with Neetu Kaul about how she went above and beyond. We're not going to waste any time jumping right into this. Neetu and I started our conversation in my previous episode, and we're going to continue it right now.
So I think the biggest thing that has really helped me and completely changed my career trajectory is saying yes first and then having the conviction to make it happen, because then you don't have a choice, right? You got to do it.
Is that what you did when you were deciding to shoot for principal? Did you say, yes, I'm going to do it, and then make yourself go do it? How'd you get to the point where you said, I am going to go shoot for principal?
Yeah. So I'll talk you through the different phases, right? Because you're at different phases in your at different points in your time domain. So I think about 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, okay, I'm an advisory, and what's next for me? And I was told, so I asked my manager, I asked my peers, and said, well, it's principal, right? That's it. And I even dabbled with the idea of going into management, right? Should I follow the individual contributor track, or should I go into management? And it was not very clear to me that at that point in time that you can contribute and in impactful ways, even if you're not a manager. I think that was the key, right? Because, somewhere in your head, it's like the only way to grow is to be a manager. The only way to contribute is, following that managerial track. So I think once I figured that out, it was very clear to me that, this is the track I need to go. So I think that was about 3 or 4 years back. And then you get busy. So it got pushed to the back burner again. But I think it was about a year ago when I seriously set my goal to be a principal, right? I said, I've got to make this happen. And then as part of some of the initiatives and the employee resource groups that I contributed to, one was the CTO Ambassadors Program. And once I joined it, I quickly realized that, there is, I don't see a lot of women here, right? And I said, what can I do to change that? And so I started canvassing other women in pre-sales and saying, have you heard about us? So I just started in a very informal way of how to change things. And then we put a process around it and we got them there. And I realized that a lot of them were not confident, or they didn't think that they were good enough. And I was pushing them I was gently nudging them. Let's just say that. I was gently nudging them that, hey, you should do it. And as part of that, as part of another ERG, which is the Global Presales Women in Action, I got another principal SE to come out and talk. And I said, and that made me realize that 2 things. One is, if she can do it, I can do it, which was very powerful. And the second thing is, here, look at me. I'm asking these people to join the CTO Ambassadors Program. And I myself haven't challenged myself, right, to take that next step, which is to apply for the principal. And that was it. I said, okay, this is not right? You got to walk the talk. So if I'm talking that, I got to walk. And I decided, that this is the year, right? And it was probably December 1st when I started looking at the application and realized that 31st is the deadline. And yes, absolutely. It was, so I reached out to you, Brian, and other mentors and other peers of how to make it happen, and seriously, like, laser focus on it, what needs to be, what I needed to do. But that is just like, that was not about how you become a principal, right? Like what does it entail for you to be a principal? But it was just like, okay, now you've done these things. Now, hands down, get into the application and see what is the requirement, right? Yep. And that was it. And you just made it, and you just have to make it happen, right? You set a goal, and I've also realized that I work very well under a deadline. So Good or bad.
You know that, and that deadline, you thought about that. You said December 1st, I'm gonna go do this principal thing and go apply for it. And the deadline was December 31st. You basically had no time to go out and do anything more to qualify yourself as a principal, which, okay, observing that fact, what that means is you had already been doing the job of principal. You gave yourself no time to do anything more to achieve principal. What that means is you were already acting as principal, which is an awesome thing. And along those lines, a lot of, I've worked with a number of people who want to become principal, and I can look back at them and say the ones who were successful in it were the ones who went above and beyond their job role. They went outside of their job role. You mentioned a couple things that you had already been doing, the CTO Ambassador Program, the ERGs, and so on. Can you talk a little bit about why you went outside of your job role to take on more responsibilities in these other, groups, teams, and so on, and how has that affected you going above and beyond your job role?
Yeah, I think it's a mindset and an attitude change, right? I mean, there was a point in my career where I said, "Hey, I've done everything, and I'm not progressing." And it took me sitting in a workshop where you had to really take a deep look inside in terms of which was like, it is inside of you to make things happen for yourself, right? That realization had to happen. And rather than waiting for things to happen, it made me realize that I have to make things happen, right? I have to take that initiative, right? And I, in speaking with my manager, typically, when you do these one-on-ones, the feedback was, "Hey, you're doing everything great." But I think I realized that I have to start getting to know more people, right? To really see what there are so many perspectives, right? To look outside of my zone, and I think that was like I got to network more, and I was looking for opportunities. The ERGs were a very easy way to grow the network, right? Because you it's not just your district or your region, right? It's not just your area of expertise technically, right? Sure, you're a vBlock expert, you're a data center expert, you're part of the global technology office, right? Requests come in to you from all over so that is table stakes, right? You've established yourself at that level. And I started thinking, okay, now that that's done, I'm helping on that side. What are the gaps? What are the other process improvement gaps? Where can I help? Where do people need help? And I think what I found myself being really passionate about is helping other peers and colleagues uplift their skills, right? So that if I could share my knowledge with them, right, to get them to a place where they are as good as me, I think I mean that gave me a lot of satisfaction. So I think it started from those things, right? It was like, share your knowledge, share your learnings. It's not just about you, but it's about dissemination. It's about giving others a chance, really giving others a chance. And I found the ERGs to be a very good way to do that. So I started with a selfish goal, right? I want to grow my network, but that it helped me find my passion. And and then I also found that you help others, then more people will come to you and to help them address anything, whether it's a technical issue, a career issue, or just a process or just a process challenge. So that's how it all started, Brian. So it started selfishly, but I think it helped me a lot as well. And what other better way to grow yourself if as part of growing yourself, you're growing others with you. Yeah.
And that's one of the common themes I see with people who have become principal or wanting to become principal is that they make the people around themselves better.
Yeah.
It's not a completely 100% selfish thing. There's some selfish stuff to it. I want to grow my career, I want to advance and that kind of thing. But a lot of the folks we work with, and we know they want to make the people around them better. and leave a legacy almost, and see other people grow their careers and so on. And along those lines, kind of as the last thing to wrap up here, what do you want to say to people who are listening right now? Maybe wondering about how do I grow in my career? How do I get to the next level? It doesn't matter if I'm, advisory or associate SE or SA or anywhere on the pre-sales track. What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would say I want to share my lessons learned, right? Okay. And if it's taken me 10 years to come here, I mean, nothing will give me more satisfaction if it takes them 5 years to get there, right? Because that's the thing, right? I mean, the mistakes that I've made, I mean, that's what I want to share. So, so the lessons learned is, I think you have to find a mentor. That's very important. Find a mentor. Build your network, build your brand, right? And then find your strength. These are the 3 things I would say. And it's easier said than done, right? Because a lot of people say, hey, we hear this a lot, build your network. How do you build that? And that it takes 2 things. There are tons of opportunities within, whether it's Dell or even if you're not at Dell, right? There are tons of opportunities, that are available to you through employee resource groups, through happy hours. You have to come outside of your shell. You have to be uncomfortable to take that first step. Don't wait for others. Be the person to you should be the person who wants to make the change. So I think those I would say at a very high level. Tactically, what I would say is, make sure that you fully understand the career progression path. Whether it's reaching out to HR, whether it's talking to your manager, right. Definitely be very well aware of that, right? Because and know exactly, right, when is that next thing? Is it 1 year? Is it 1.5 years? How do you grow? What is the expectation? Even within pre-sales, we have multiple levels. Familiarize yourself with that, because time and time again, and I'm also part of that, right? I didn't know, okay, I'm an advisory today, what happens next? Or I'm an SE today, what's next, right? So always keep asking, like, tactically, what's next? Look at that progression chart, irrespective of the business unit that you are in, right? And don't wait for others to ask for something. Don't assume that you will be given a promotion or anything. You have to be the one who's championing your own champion. Sorry, I can't talk, but yeah, be your own champion. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I know. I'm confident that other people who are listening to this, listening to us talk here and what you're saying are going to find your experience and your recommendations and suggestions and so on of value to them. So thankful. So thank you. Can I volunteer you as someone that people can contact with questions, advice?
Absolutely, Brian, and thank you for bringing that up, because mentorship is, I think both you and I share that, right? I mean, that is at the heart of one of the things that we as principals aspire to do. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Neetu, for making the time. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you, Brian.
I want to call out a couple things Neetu said. First, going above and beyond her job role is a mindset and an attitude change. She said it in the last episode, and she said it again. She had reached a point where she thought she had done everything and wasn't progressing anymore. She had to look into herself and challenge herself to do more outside of her comfort zone. That's an impressive personal change. And second, she said, don't wait for others to do things for you to advance you in your career. You have to be your own champion and go out and do it. And as she said, feel free to contact her, whether it's on LinkedIn or email or whatever. I've included her contact info in the description for this video. Again, thank you, Neetu. See you in my next vlog, where I'll dive deeper into going above and beyond.